Hello, here's an update on the drive motor for the rollover unit. Um, I'm at the SEW Euro Drive website, and um, I looked at the part number on the drawing, the FT87 and so on. So I'm at the F series, 2-stage and 3-stage F series. Um, And as I was looking through the list here, I found the FT. So the part number started with FT, and I noticed it said a hollow shaft torque lock, which I expected hollow shaft because that matches the 3D model that I downloaded. There's no output shaft. I think I've got this figured out. So there is no key in the hollow shaft that I noticed, and I was trying to figure out what drives the shaft. So that torque lock is a patented shrinking disc, and you can somewhat see it here in blue at the back here in AutoCAD. It's also part of the model. If I suppress this solid body, they've got kind of this generic torque lock shrinking disc model sitting in here, which I thought was interesting and helpful. So anyway, I believe what's going on here is, let me go to the documentation. Here's the documentation on the torque lock. So there's this shrinking disc in the back underneath of that cap. Let me move this picture. Okay, so underneath of this cap on the back here is the shrinking disc, the torque lock patented shrinking disc. There is a number 6 conical steel bushing. Then here is the hollow shaft, and here's a keyway. So inside of there, this is how the transmission is occurring. Of course, the hollow shaft, the customer shaft is clamped using the torque lock. Okay, so now down to the part that was really confusing me, was what the heck is going on here? Well, I started putting the pieces together when I saw this split right here, and I started looking at this number 3 conical bronze bushing. So that's what we're seeing in the image, is the split in the bronze bushing. So there is a clamp that, once you get to the installation instructions, there's a clamp that, once you push that bushing in, that conical bushing in, then you press, of course you press the clamp up against the bushing to hold it in place. Well, I think what's going on, and I will still confirm this with Ed, or maybe even Dennis, because I talked to Dennis about it a little bit. I think what's going on is that the shaft has threads machined on it. So I'm calling this a spanner wrench nut. So basically, the shaft is going through the whole system, and these threads are pushing against the conical bushing, and as they tighten this nut against the plate, it pushes the shaft into the drive unit, and it pushes on the conical bushing. So I think as they tighten that nut, that's how they are putting the pressure on that bushing instead of using the clamp that's shown in the SEW documentation. I think that's what's going on. I'm going to model it like that and send it to Ed or Dennis, like I said, and see what they think. But it's pretty much that's where I am right now. I'm going to start putting it together. I think in the 3D model, I think what this represents is the clamp. It's a pretty generic model, but it's the only thing I could think that could be, because it doesn't, when I overlay it in the customer drawing, here's the clamp in here's that feature in orange from the model, and it's not shown on the customer drawing. So I think this is the clamp, which we will not use. We'll go with this system that they have, which is pretty interesting. But so far, I think that's pretty much where everything has led me.